People have been calling 14-year-old Romanian pro Shxrk the next Peterbot due to his insane mechanics and fighting ability. He hasn't reached Peterbot's level yet, but his placements have been getting better and better. In the first solo Victory Cup session and the Kim Kardashian Cup, he placed first overall in both, where he averaged about 9 kills a game between them. But how does he actually do it? In this first example, we can see Shxrk using creative angles and piece control to close out fights quickly. To start this fight, him and the opponent ramp towards each other, which we have all seen 1,000 times. Shxrk gets a really good cone from a few tiles away on the opponent, and instead of running up the ramp next to him, he instantly jumps and ramps left. Something else we've seen 1,000 times is when you cone the opponent and try and take the sidewall, which the opponent expects as it's the easy option and you are already heading that way. The opponent thinks Shxrk is going to be opening that wall, but he relocated the top cone and has an easy double edit for a pump. He hits a second pump, but the opponent gets out. Shxrk then uses a really clever trick here where he fakes the phase in and pre-fires and sneaks his own stare in, but the pre-fire doesn't work, so he tries to get the drop down piece. Shxrk covers so many options here. He covered the insta edit from the opponent with the pre-fire, he stopped the opponent from going out the top with his stare, and he stopped him from going out the bottom with his drop down piece control. And 9 times out of 10, one of these 3 options ends the fight. He then goes for another really creative bit of piece control where he tries to open the floor from below to cone the opponent, but the opponent already had a stair placed when he tries this. The opponent tries to jetpack away, but he is ready for that too and quickly finishes the fight. Shxrk uses multiple really creative piece control plays this fight that are worth considering in your own gameplay, as they both are pretty simple plays just made with very quick reaction time. In this next example, Shxrk uses another creative way to get an opening to finish off a fight. Shxrk starts the fight by tagging the opponent twice and tries to get in right away as the opponent is reboxing to catch him off guard. The opponent is able to hold the wall and Shxrk jumps out and tries to break in. The opponent then tries to swing to the right, but Shxrk blocks it off. Knowing he doesn't have the wall in front of him, he swings left and one-shots the freshly reset metal wall with his pistol and takes the opponent's side wall. The opponent gets out, but the sequence of awareness of the opponent's location and what walls were low and not his is really important. This leads into something I will talk about more later in the video, about how Shxrk has incredible piece awareness. Shxrk goes up and notices the opponent is getting third party, so instead of relocating to different sides of the opponent like he normally does, he makes sure the third partier is on the opposite side of the opponent for additional pressure. The opponent seems to have good ping and can consistently hold walls, so Shxrk tries to phase in with no luck. He tries again to take the wall and doesn't get it, and most players here would just continue to swing once and pull their shotgun out to defend themselves. But Shxrk makes a really clever edit play here. He hits the wall once, edits down to fake out the opponent, then resets the floor and comes back up and double pickaxes in to secure the kill. From the opponent's perspective, he thought Shxrk was moving and goes to reset the window he had edited, but Shxrk pops back up again and pickaxes in since the opponent had stopped holding the wall. This last play here is part of a larger strategy that Shxrk does when he is W-keying his opponents, where he will often use a build or edit to make it look like he is relocating or moving, and then instantly re-edit so that he can catch the opponent off guard. The next fight, he uses a similar technique. He opens the fight with a tag and ramps toward the opponent. He drops down on a wall to the side and hits a pre-fire pump to crack the opponent, but since the iron pump has such a fast pullout time, Shxrk gets hit as well. An interesting note here, generally players will place a wall here and then reset when they go for a pre-fire, but Shxrk just didn't place a wall initially and then built one after shooting, knowing that he could edit his cone and go out the side if the opponent managed to snag the wall in front of him. This is a slightly better option than resetting a wall, as you can instantly place the build when you shoot your shotgun, versus when you reset it, you either need to swing your mouse all the way to the wall on the right or pull out your blueprint to reset it. Even though he got hit, small optimizations like that are really important this season with how fast the iron pump's pullout time is. The opponent expands and Shxrk swings his pickaxe once and shoots the wall, which breaks freshly built wood walls. The opponent then tries to edit on him where Shxrk jumps up, and does this play I saw him do a few times where he builds a floor and then edits it on his way back down to try and break the freshly built brick wall. This is similar to the floor play in the last example where he places a build to make it look like he was going to move, and then reverses back to where he was previously. The opponent loses sight of him when he jumps, as well as visual audio, making it really difficult to track Shxrk here. Shxrk does get shot in the back, but he breaks in and takes his opponent's missing wall, a strategy he uses a lot, and pumps him to get him really low. He sprays with his AR trying to finish the fight, but can't bleed any bullets through, and then manages to take the wall. He knows his AR clip is basically empty, so he shoots the opponent's stair to take it, and swings hard to the left. He knows he needs to wait for his pump cooldown to be done, and waits for the opponent to panic shoot, thinking Shxrk would show up again, then easily finishes the fight. Baiting out your opponent's pump to get a free pump of your own is a really useful strategy that pros use all the time that allowed Shxrk to finish this fight. Another thing that Shxrk is really good at is analyzing and quickly figuring out the skill of his opponent. In this fight, he starts at a health disadvantage, heals, and instantly goes for a bunch of doubles, which is really important in W keying currently. At first, he's overconfident because the opponent boxes up after he started the fight with a health advantage, and Shxrk gets pumped hard due to his unsafe pressuring. Shxrk goes to heal and realizes the opponent isn't horrible, so he starts taking the fight a little more seriously. The opponent thinks Shxrk is under the cone here, as that's the last spot he had visual audio since Shxrk crouches and moves to the other box, letting Shxrk surprise him with a free peek. Shxrk then hits him with a genius play, where he sees the opponent healing on the cone and places walls around the cone from below. He does this so that the opponent is forced to jump up to avoid being in Shxrk's piece, but Shxrk is ready for this as he is already going for the layer above his own walls to set up the kill after hitting a quick triple edit. Similar to the fight where Shxrk slid the ramp into his opponent's box and tried to get the drop down piece control, Shxrk uses piece control and build placement to try and get the opponent to move a certain way, and then tries to predict where they are going to go to set up an advantage. One of the biggest skill gaps in Fortnite currently is being able to read your opponent and what their actions will be in a fight, and using pressure to force your opponent to choose certain options. Shxrk is so much better at this than the average player, as his pressure is very deliberate. Back to analyzing his opponent's skill. This is something Shxrk does to get a lot of free kills in these solo games. Here, he sees an opponent who has built a very large brick base with no cones on top and a random stair on top of it. This is not a base that a good player would generally build, and Shxrk recognizes that, and since the brick floor is still being built, he just breaks in with his pistol and pumps the opponent. While the opponent did happen to be low HP, he panics and Shxrk totally has the jump on him and would have killed him regardless of the health situation. Similarly, in this example, he sees someone building a wood base in the mid game and instantly clocks this is either a bad player or a player in shambles. You don't build a wood 2x1 this far into the game if you're a good player. It is just a bad play, as you can easily get sprayed or pickaxe from multiple angles in a heartbeat. Shxrk recognizes this, takes the wall, and easily finishes off the opponent when he drops down. These kills don't require anything specifically technical, they're just using context to figure out who is likely to panic if he confidently pushes them. Shxrk is also really smart about strategically jumping in, as you can see here where he is already in his wingsuit and notices the opponent getting shot in the opposite direction of where he is coming from. As the wingsuit audio can be a little hard to follow if you're distracted, Shxrk just dives in and gets a free kill. Even though Shxrk is one of the fastest players alive, that doesn't mean he can't keep it simple to get easy kills. Obviously though, not all kills are that simple. In this fight here, he glides in to protect himself, and then tries to build up to get height or piece the opponent, and he spams high walls here to get as much piece as he can. Instead of going up here and continuing to go forward, Shxrk moves back to his older builds to try and cone the opponent, where he barely gets out. Shxrk's awareness of what builds were his is incredible and almost gets him an opening here. Throughout all of the fights in this video, go back and look and see how aware Shxrk is of what's his and what the opponent has claimed, which allows him to make these super fast plays. The next time you are 1v1ing in creative, I want you to try and edit every single piece that you try and take like it's yours. You're going to die more for sure while you do this, but being aware of what pieces you typically can take is how these mechanical players are able to make such fast plays, since they always know what they have taken from hundreds of reps of trying to edit course their opponents. That's also how Shxrk ends the fight here too. He 180s and high stairs to get an easy edit, and then double edits up on his opponent knowing those pieces are his even though the opponent was right above him also building in brick, and puts him in a blender. In this next fight, he starts with a 46 tag with the nice headshot multiplier of the pistol and pushes in. The opponent reboxes and Shxrk relocates and makes a clever play here. He places 2 stairs down on both boxes the opponent made so he doesn't reveal which one he's going to pressure, and then just jump shoots to pre-fire for the instant counter peek from the opponent. A lot of players here will try and pickaxe the wall or run down in front of the opponent's wall and then jump out, but these leave you potentially open to getting pieced or counter peeked. Instead of this, Shxrk barely gives the opponent any opening at all to make a play, and is able to protect himself with the pre-fire. Thanks to replay lag, you can see the opponent does try and open for a quick edit here, and then Shxrk goes back down for a pre-fire which he hits. He then sprays the freshly reset wall and goes for this mid wall here that he always goes for when the opponent hasn't built the center wall in a 2x1. I hope you are starting to see that a key takeaway from this is that you need to build a center wall in your 2x1, along with cones on your floor in 2025, as good players will take advantage of this. Ironically, Shxrk does mess up the edit for the free kill here, and looks for another pre-fire, and then sprints around his opponent's box to catch him trying to expand to clean up a fight. This final fight shows a good peek that Shxrk uses a lot that I think more players should utilize. He starts the fight by pickaxing the cone, making the opponent relocate. The opponent moves, and he goes to take the wall with his AR. He gets the wall, but thinks the opponent is in the other box and tries to get the mid wall in the 2x1, but the opponent pumps him when he opens. Shxrk quickly counter pumps, making both of them have 1 HP, and he backs himself to win this fight since he still has the wall. He ducks behind the cone, makes a wide edit, and then instantly jump shoots. Because of server desync and how fast Shxrk moves when he jumps up, this is a really strong peak. The peak is super wide also, making it difficult for the opponent to shoot the wall and break it and retake it with his own when it's freshly edited. After watching all of these Shxrk games and analyzing his play and decisions, I'm convinced this kid is an alien. His decision making is so quick, his awareness is absurd, and he is clearly processing things at a ridiculously fast level. I honestly predict he will top 3 in FNCS this year in EU. If you're interested in another up and coming pro but on NA, click the video about Josh Rayleigh on screen.